Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Back at it again. So first off, I know what you're gonna say. Where have you been? Let me explain. Life has been interesting. As we all know, this year has been an absolute terrible time to just be here and be doing anything, having any plans whatsoever. Plans this year are the things we laugh at. It used to be called jokes. Now it's called plans. Yeah, I planned to really start going in on all the YouTube stuff, making content, doing a lot of things. And then I moved rooms. I'm in an office building and I moved from downstairs to upstairs. Downstairs, my setup was phenomenal, fantastic. And then I needed to move because I also needed to move into a space that I could work out of and shoot photos. And so I had to move, therefore losing my entire picture perfect place to shoot videos. There'll be a separate video showing you kind of the whole room and what I want to do. But I moved into this room November 1st. As soon as I moved into here, I had to figure out what I was doing for Christmas. So let's just say I was stressed and YouTube wasn't necessarily at the top of my priority, but we're back. We're trying again. We're not necessarily making plans to do everything, but we're gonna try and make progress and hope 2021 doesn't destroy plans like 2020 did. So I'm back with doing YouTube videos, and today's video is going to be a recap of all of the things that happened in 2020, as well as my top 10 favorite photo sessions that I did this year. So first off, what happened this year? Obviously in March, COVID shut everything down. Let's just say I was planning to get around the country and no, COVID said, ha. Actually like a week or two before the lockdown, me and my friend Daniel, who runs Striking Silence Studios. Striking Silence, they're the GOAT. In March, me and Daniel were gonna be moving into a joint shared storefront space. And like 2 weeks after we looked at the place and we were like about to, sign the lease and like negotiating and everything, COVID laughed, haha, again. I ended up sharing the space he's already in with him and turning one of his rooms into a photo studio at like his place. And then I moved downstairs into the office that we all know from the 2 videos that I was able to put out while I was in that room. And then I moved into this room that is big enough for me to shoot all of the things I need, and I am so very grateful. So business-wise, things have been interesting this year, but it's been okay for the most part, and it worked out in the end. I mean, after the shutdown, I didn't shoot for 2 months, and me and my cousin Shea actually, since we were accidentally or happened to be quarantining together, we ended up creating a series called First Ghetto Blackish Church. Since all churches were essentially shut down, we were like, let's try and fill that void with some humor. And so we created all of these characters that were inside of this church, and we shot it all on green screen in my room. It was a whole thing, and that was really fun to pass those 2 months. But then I was like, I kind of need to figure out how to get back to work. And so everyone was afraid. Everyone was so afraid to come out. And so I was like, can't come out, I will come to you. And so I did the front porch sessions, gradually worked my way up to my prices, like my normal prices. But I also got to redesign my website. And then a couple months ago, I redesigned the redesign. People can book online now and pay their deposits. And I actually think this is the final iteration of my website. And now I'll just be able to update it, like a normal person instead of doing a whole rehaul every time. Even despite my expected travel plans being canceled after COVID, I was still able to do some traveling. I mean, this year I've gone to Washington, D.C., Atlantic Beach, Virginia Beach. Where else did I go? I went to the Biltmore Estate. Oh, and I went to Boone, but that was before the shutdown. Some of the trips that I've taken this year, I actually got to travel with my friend Juan. I know a long time ago, like 2 years ago, me and my buddy Chris, who used to help me shoot older YouTube videos on a different channel, me and him used to plan places to travel and everything. And me and him actually ended up going to California with some other friends. That was one of the best trips of my life. But now, Chris, I don't see him as much. We don't talk as much. I need to catch up with the man. That's what I need to do. But COVID has, no one's really keeping in touch these days. But I used to travel with Chris, now I travel with Juan, and we had fun. I did Washington, D.C. with him, I did Virginia Beach with him, and I did the Biltmore again. That was my second time going to the Biltmore. It was really fun. So I've gotten to do some pretty dope stuff and like traveling, even though this year has been interesting, and I was able to stay safe while doing it, which is the most important part. I didn't get sick after I came back from any of those places, and so that's always great. So this year I shot over 130 sessions. That is paid sessions, not just like stuff I did for fun or whatever. No, 130 paid sessions. And even though it was during a pandemic, I made significant moves in my business from last year to this year, whether it's, the way I marketed myself or the way I got the studio and like did different moves. I made significantly more money this year than last year, and I know so many people cannot say that, and I am so grateful. I'm really proud of myself, and I truly thank God that I have been able to maneuver through these absolutely insane times, and I'm really grateful to anyone who decided, hey, we're in a pandemic, but I still want to shoot photos, and then followed up that idea by shooting with me. That makes me so excited and so happy and so grateful, because all I want to do is, the whole tagline of my business is create content that matters. Whether I'm creating something for a YouTuber, whether I'm creating something for a family, whether I'm doing headshots for someone, no matter what it is, I'm creating things that matter because they matter to the person, but they also matter to me, because I want to create the best thing that I possibly can create for you in this moment. And I am so happy that I got to do that for so many people this year. And so I want to recount some of my favorite things that I got to shoot this year. So without further ado, here are my top 10 favorite sessions that I did this year, with a couple of honorable mentions. So we're gonna start our way from the bottom and work our way all the way up to the top, just like Drake said, started from the bottom, now we here. So we're starting with number 10. Number 10 is my maternity session that I did with Tiffany. So, fun fact, this was back in, I believe, May or June. This was one of the first shoots that I did after, the lockdown and everything. And this is also the first maternity session I ever did. And I am so happy with how it turned out. It turned out so great and better than I imagined it would have. And it's our number 10 spot. On to number 9, my family session with the Jetters. So this session was shot at one of my favorite places to shoot in Charlotte, Midtown Park. I absolutely loved shooting with all of them. Their daughters were absolutely amazing, and they were very entertaining and fun to shoot. Can I just say, parents, y'all have nothing. Normal parents, y'all have nothing on the fire that this couple brought to this session. This photo is one of my favorite photos of a couple I've taken, hands down. I love this photo. It was, when I saw this in camera, I was like, we got straight fire. But they came dressed to the nines. I loved the color scheme. It matched perfectly with the scene and the scenario, and it was just perfect. And that is why this is my number 9 pick, because I loved so many photos from this session. It was a great time. On to number 8, my photo session with Tess Chasen. So I'm trying to sit here and think about how I met Tess, and I'm assuming I just messaged her on Instagram because I can't remember, but Tess is a model, and I'm assuming I just messaged her on Instagram and was like, hey, I'd love to shoot with you or whatever, and she was down. But we went down to the Green in downtown Charlotte, and then we just shot around Charlotte, and one of the photos that I got from her session is one of my favorite photos that I've gotten all year, hands down. This photo right here is just, I don't know, it's the lights, it's the pose, it's everything. I absolutely love this photo. It's in the intro of my YouTube video, so you've definitely seen it. We had a blast. It was cold, it was chilly, because I believe we shot in either January or February, but we were able to get some wintry shots because it was later in the day or later at night. We were able to get some shots in the street without fear of being hit by a car. This shot reminds me of New York so much, and I cannot wait to shoot with her again. I have some exciting stuff planned for me and her to do in 2021. On to number 7, Olivia and Nicholas's proposal. So this is a great story. So Olivia messages me and it's like, hey, I would love to book a shoot. This was when I was doing the at-home sessions. And she was like, hey, I would love to do like something in our yard, set some stuff out, and we're gonna like have a picnic or whatever. And I was like, okay, great. We booked it, everything was great. Like a day or two later, I get a text from Nick and he's like, hey, so Olivia doesn't know, but I'm about to propose. And I was like, oh, this is great. Me and him kind of like set up the whole plan about like where her family was gonna be like around the house, and then like she was gonna walk back around. It was a whole thing, and she had no idea, and it was a surprise, and it worked perfectly. This was my first proposal that I had ever got to shoot, and afterwards we did some kind of engagement photos. Like your whole session previously was a lie, so like here's some photos like with you like wearing the ring and like doing the whole COVID vibe thing. But that was just a great moment amongst friends because I had already shot with them 2 times previously. I shot with them for Valentine's Day. This photo, fire, absolute fire. That shoot, that whole proposal thing, gold. Session number 6 was the Falls family portrait session. So I had shot with Kim Falls. She's a comedian in Charlotte. I had done headshots with her previously. And so once again, once I was doing the at-home session, she hit me up and was like, hey, we would love to do one. And so we set it up and everything. I got there. They kind of had the picnic vibe set up, so we got a couple, but her kids wanted to run around. And I was like, you know what? Let them move. Let's do it. You don't want photos of your kid being forced to sit still. You would much rather me let your kid run around and me capture the true essence of your kid. I know when the right moment is to get a nice pose family photo, and then where I just let y'all be yourselves and me just kind of join in for a moment and like, snap what's going on. And this was one of the first times I like genuinely got to run around with some kids. I have since done this at almost every family session with a kid, and it always works out amazingly. Basically, I let her kids, just do their own thing, and that's when you get shots like this one. I absolutely love this photo. I'm actually probably going to be including this photo in a future thing that I have planned, showing kind of how I edit photos like before and after, because this photo did not look like this originally, but I did some Photoshop Lightroom magic. Also, one of my favorite sequences of photos happened during this session. Their son was not having it. He was not having it for a part of the shoot. He was just, I don't know if he was tired or sleepy. He just didn't want to take photos. And I'm like, dude, I feel you. I don't always want to, be in front of the camera. That's why I'm behind it. And so he started crying. And so he walked up to his dad. He was trying to console him, but also talking to me and trying to get him to pose for a picture. And I was like, no. Don't pose him. Just give him a hug. Just deal with that. And I took photos while that was happening. And these are some of my favorite images. It was phenomenal. Some things you can't pose, and some things you just have to know when to do candid and let the moment happen, and then pose. And this was a perfect example of that. Session number 5 is my couple session downtown with Iris and Cameron. So this session has me excited for multiple reasons. One of which, obviously the photos turned out amazing, but the second is that I'm actually shooting their wedding next year, and I am so excited because of how much we just vibed at this session. I loved shooting with them so much. They picked up what I was putting down. We were joking around. It was great. It was phenomenal. And the photos, y'all, the fire that they brought to this session was next level. Look at some of these photos. I am blown away by them. Not even me. I took the photos, but they are on point. Also, I was with my dad when I was editing some of these photos, and he saw my before and after of one of these photos, and he was looking and he was like, how much of photography is even real? Because he saw how much I was editing, I was doing some stuff to the background and taking some stuff out and adding some lights or something, or fixing something. And he was like, how much is real? And I was like, it's a decent mix. Some photographers think you shouldn't edit, some think you should. And he was like, yeah, because that's a whole different picture now. And I was like, you're not wrong. Photography is art. And so photography can have multiple different purposes, and where I line up on it typically is the more artistic vibe. And so, yeah, I love jumping in Lightroom and Photoshop, messing with some colors and, changing the hues of these greens to like make the trees seem more like fall-like, or making sure like a dress, if you're shooting a wedding dress in the woods, making sure the dress isn't tinted purple from the sunlight or yellow and making sure it's actually white, different stuff like that. Just making the photos the best you can make them. I have no problem with that. And that philosophy combined with the absolute fire that Iris and Cameron brought to this, made this session definitely one of my favorites of the year. Session number 4, we are getting down to the wire. We're almost at the top 3. Session number 4 is my downtown night shoot with Dan. So I met Dan over 2 years ago. Wow, almost 3 years ago. So me and Chris, remember Chris, the guy that I used to do all the traveling and stuff with, me and Chris were downtown. We were driving home and the sunset was looking amazing downtown. So we were like, you know what? Let's hit a detour. Obviously there's still sunlight, the sun's going down. Let's go to a parking deck and, shoot some photos of the sunset, and then we can head home. When we got to the parking deck, Dan and one of his friends were also already on the parking deck shooting photos, and I actually ended up taking photos of the two of them. Now, I have these photos. These photos, remember, were 2 years ago. I am a much better photographer now. I was looking back at these photos and I was like, wow, that edit is not great. But, I shot them. But now, looking like from that to this, and it was at night and it was downtown, it wasn't really chilly. It was like the perfect weather. It was amazing. The colors in some of these photos that we were able to get, absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. We went back to the green, and that's the thing. That's the reason why I love my shoot with Tess, is because I tried to recreate the photo that I did of her with the lights in the background. Tried to do it with Dan, but because of COVID, there weren't as many people in that building, and so there weren't as many lights on. But even still, even though I didn't get to recreate it with Dan, we got so many other amazing photos. I absolutely love this session, and it's definitely one of my top. Okay, we are down to the actual wire. So, my third favorite session of the year absolutely has to go to Clara and Roderick's wedding portraits. So we did some wedding portraits separate from Clara and Roderick's wedding day at this small park that has a beach up kind of near Raleigh. And when I tell y'all, I absolutely, I'd never been here. I didn't know anything about it. Clara knew the place and she was like, hey, I think this would be, a really good place. She had mentioned some other options. She was like, but I really think this spot would be the good spot. Girl, let me tell you, yes, absolutely yes. The photos that we were able to get, the sunset, the woods were amazing. Although I will say, I did a lot. I love this session so much that I was like, I have to make this session feel like it's making me feel, and I have to make this look exactly like I want it to. I spent a lot of time in Lightroom on this session, making sure the colors and the color scheme of this entire session was exactly how I wanted it to. So the woods, I definitely manipulated the colors in those woods. When I was mentioning making sure a wedding dress is white, her wedding dress, it was catching other colors. It was turning more blue or purple in the camera when you saw it. So I had to go and make sure the dress looked white. The sunset was absolute fire, and making sure it translated and showed through the pictures. I mean, the water, the beach, everything was just so perfect. And I am so happy that we did a separate shoot separate from their wedding, because if not, these photos wouldn't have existed. But I'm so glad they did. So y'all want to know something? You know what I just realized? I messed up. Y'all, I messed up. And I didn't even realize it until right now. This is my top 11, but I'm still going to call it my top 10. Just know that when I get to number 0, it's actually number 1, and everything is shifted a little bit, but it's okay. We're still going to pretend that this is a top 10, even though it's a top 11, because I had apparently too many sessions to pick from, and I put 11 on the list, but then named it 10, and then confused myself. So that's what we did. So anyway, number 2, technically number 3, but number 2 session is actually a wedding. So even though I shot a lot of different weddings this year, I shot some stuff for Anchor and Veil, I shot some stuff with Crystal, and I shot, some weddings by myself. Hands down, one of my favorite weddings of the year, and one of my favorite images from that wedding of the year, has to be my photo of Cleo at her and Alexis's wedding. She got married on a farm It's a venue, but they have like animals and different stuff. She took a photo with a horse. That is one of my most, I don't know, I just love the photo so much. I hyped this photo up so much and I love it. Maybe it's because the horse is looking in the same direction as her. Maybe it's the sunset, I don't know. But this photo I absolutely love. And then we got one with the two of them kissing with the horse also, kind of looking whatever. It was phenomenal, but also just the photos that I was able to get, some of the ones from their reception and some of the stuff, like some of their other portraits that they got together, and even some of her stuff separate, and even like the detail photos. Just, I love this wedding so much, and like it was great. The venue was great, and also just shooting, the experience of shooting this wedding, this was the easiest wedding to shoot, not because like anything was simple, but because Cleo took such good care of her vendors and made sure that we had everything we needed to make sure like the amount of time was correct and everything. Like it was great to shoot, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and the pictures obviously speak for themselves and are amazing. So technically, what should be my number one is technically my number two. So I have two more shoots after this. My second to last favorite shoot of the year, so technically my number one, but we're going to zero now, is I shot George and Jensen's proposal on top of, I can't remember what apartment building it is, but it was an apartment building downtown. Y'all, phenomenal. So there's a couple who lives in this apartment building downtown named Candy and Jonathan, and I'm friends with them, and George is also like friends with them. And so it worked out to where George told Jensen that they were just going over their house or like their apartment like normal, whatever, do some social distance, hanging out, drinking or whatever. And then they all went up to the roof. Little did Jensen know I was, chilling in the corner of the balcony or whatever. And they walked out and they were looking out or whatever. And then boom, he drops down on one knee and I was there to snap. It was perfect. Like this was such like a big deal to everyone there, and I loved it because we did like a run through of like, okay, so they're gonna go to the room, and like we showed up like a month in advance to kind of go through like the motions of like where everybody needed to be and what needed to happen. It was great. I loved it, and the photos were great. I'm so excited for them, and I'm so happy that I got to be a part of that special moment. And the view is part of what makes this my second to last favorite session of the year. And finally, okay, so technically number zero, number one, however you want to do it. But anyway, my top favorite session of the year. I mean, this session was honestly one of the biggest like struggle photo shoots of the year, but it turned out to make me the happiest because of the struggle that we went through to get the photos. I am referring to my photo shoot, my night photo shoot with India. So India hits me up, and I've never met her. I don't know her, but she hits me up, she's a new client, and she says, I kind of wanted to do some photos in my neighborhood pool. And I said, okay, that's fine. She goes, I kind of wanted to do it at night. And I was like, dope, perfect. There's no problem. Yeah, that's fine. And she was like, okay, bet. And I was like, yeah, I'll bring some like, cool colors, and we'll, fast finesse, and we'll figure it out. Somebody tell me why I didn't think about the possibility of her neighborhood pool not having any lights at night. So here's the situation. I get there, sun is going down, basically almost completely gone. And by the time I like unpack, we start shooting and figuring things out. She's got this like, flowy dress thing. It's working perfectly. It's basically dark. And I'm thinking, how is my camera gonna focus? Like I didn't really think that through because the lights that I use don't have modeling lights. Like they're not consistent lights like these lights. They're flashes, like they're strobes. So they just go off and then that's it. So the camera has a hard time. Yeah, it was, when I tell you that we spent more time focusing the camera, or I spent more time focusing the camera than actually taking pictures, yeah, it was a lot. So we were using like flashlights because it was the two of us, and then I believe it was her girlfriend that was there and like trying to help and like holding flashes and like flashlights. Y'all, when I tell you that I am so happy with how these photos turned out, it took me like a week or 2 weeks, a week and a half or 2 weeks or something to edit all of these photos because I wanted to make sure they were perfect. Y'all, I'm gonna let you in on like a little secret. This photo right here, my favorite photo from this session, a lot of this is photoshopped and you can't tell, and I am so happy that you can't tell. But in a future video, probably within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing, like I was mentioning before, I'm going to be doing a breakdown of some of my favorite like Lightroom and Photoshop moments and how I edit my photos to be, you know, as perfect as I want them to be and all of that stuff. But yeah, this session made me so happy because the colors and the lights, and like even though we were struggling hardcore to catch focus, and some of the photos that like should have been perfect weren't in focus, and so I couldn't do anything about them and I couldn't use them. It was a lot, but this shoot hands down like gave me the most happiness when I got home and I saw the images that I had. And like, I don't know, I've shot so much during this year, but some of the stuff that I really love to shoot, like some of the biggest stuff, is the stuff where I get to be the most creative and think outside of the box. I've never shot photos in a swimming pool. I can't swim. Oh, let's shoot in a swimming pool. You know, let's, no, I don't do that. I can't swim. So like automatically my mind doesn't go there. But the fact that she came to me with this idea and it turned out so phenomenal, that was great. So that was my top 10, technically my top 11, and I am so happy with all of the shoots that I got to do this year, not just my top 10. I mean, I have some honorable mentions. I got to shoot with Koa for his first birthday shoot. I'm telling y'all, those are some of the most adorable photos I've gotten of any baby, any toddler, anything. I absolutely love those photos, especially of him like smashing the cake, and he was just happy the whole time. He didn't cry once. He was the happiest baby I've ever photographed. I got to shoot with Rosie and her family, and this photo of her and her daughter are hands down also one of my favorite images of the year. I absolutely love this photo so much, and it is one of my favorite photos I've actually gotten in Midtown Park as well. My senior session with Jason was also a honorable mention. He was not happy about the fact that basically his senior year got messed up by COVID, and I completely sympathize with him 100%. Like, I get it. Like, this year sucked for so many reasons, but he wanted to do like a more serious vibe for his senior portraits because he was like, I don't really feel like smiling. And I was like, yo, I get it. We're still gonna give you some dope pictures. And we pulled off the very like suave and serious mode. It worked perfectly. The colors from this photo alone, I love it. I did Maya's maternity session, and I actually shot with Maya and her family at 3 different points this year. Every time was phenomenal, but my favorite is probably her maternity session, which was the first shoot that I did with them. It was phenomenal. She looked amazing. We actually did 2 locations. We did like a graffiti wall in Noda or Plaza Midwood, and then we went to a park, and it was phenomenal. She killed it. And my last honorable mention photo shoot is my photo shoot, or my headshot shoot, with Kim Falls. I did her family shoot, which was the one with her husband hugging the kids and everything. Her headshot session, unlike any other. Girl jumped in a puddle. She literally jumped in like straight up in a puddle. Like we were doing photos like earlier. Homegirl saw a puddle at the beginning of her session and was like, yo, I like that puddle. We gonna come back to that puddle. And I was like, all right, cool, bet. And I forgot about it. We kept shooting like, you know, different stuff or whatever. We were shooting for like over 30 minutes. We're probably shooting for like an hour. And you know, it was great. I love shooting in Noda. There's so many different like colors and different things. And then we kind of circled back around and she was like, yeah, that puddle. I kind of want to go down there and shoot with that puddle. And I was like, all right, what we gonna do? And she was like, I'm gonna jump in it. And I was like, all right, bet. And she did. She straight up jumped in the puddle. Like, hands down, favorite. Like, it's not a headshot, but it's a portrait. Phenomenal, because it tells personality. One of my favorite shoots that I've done with somebody, like during like a headshot or like a branding thing, like for themselves or for like a company, one of my favorite photos that I've gotten from something like that, because it truly shows her personality and her willingness to like do crazy things. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. It represents her well, it represents her comedy well, like it represents all aspects of her well. It was perfect. And that's my last honorable mention. So I know this video is already probably super long because I talk a lot, but I just wanted to show how grateful I am for all of the sessions that I got to do this year and how dope everything was. Next year, I've got some exciting things coming. I'm actually doing the 365 challenge. For those of you who don't know what that is, basically you shoot something every day something. And I'm not gonna do like, oh, okay, well, it's like 9 o'clock at night and I don't have anything to shoot, and so, you know, I have this thing in my house, I'm just gonna, you know, take a couple photos of that. Like, no, I want to create 365 dope pictures that are inspired by something. Like, and so I've been like, you know, writing down like different ideas for individual photo shoots and different ideas that I want to do. I think I've got like a little over 30 or like right at 30 ideas so far. So I've got, wow, 1 month, you know, I got 11 to go, but I'm really thinking through what I want to do for next year, and you should definitely sign up to be a part of my Insider Club, because I'm gonna need models for some of these shoots, and so these will be discounted sessions. Some of these will be discounted sessions for like, hey, I've got an idea, I want to shoot here, yada yada yada. Hey, I mean, it's still a session. If you're interested in this, or if it's a couple thing, if your couple is interested in this, or if it's your family thing, if your family is interested in shooting here or doing this or whatever, hey, I'll give it to you at a discount because it's my idea, and we'll go do this dope thing. The only way you can be eligible to get in on one of those things first is if you're inside of the Insider Club. And so click the link below, sign up, it's completely free, and basically you get birthday deals on like for your birthday, for sessions, random spontaneous like options and like special deals for sessions when I feel like, you know, just giving out like nice things. Every month there will be a giveaway for a free session, so you definitely want to be involved in that. Like, it's a lot of free stuff, and all you have to do is sign up. So you should probably just, you know, sign up. I want to build like a family, a community, you know. That's what we're doing. 2021, we're taking back all of the things that 2020 like messed up and doing so much more. And so definitely be a part of the Insider group, and you're gonna see a lot more photos and hopefully content from me, because I'm gonna be documenting hopefully every process of, or every step of the process for the 365 challenge. And it's gonna be a lot. Like, I'm telling y'all probably gonna get tired of my photography, but I'm gonna try and keep it up, like switch it up, make it something original every day. And so, you know what, y'all, we gonna be hustling in 2021. I've also jumped on TikTok, so if you're on TikTok, you're doing the talks, go ahead and follow me over there. I'm gonna start back doing more stuff based on the 365 stuff. I'm gonna start vlogging, hopefully, to show more behind the scenes. Like, y'all, we are ramping up. Now that I got the studio and I like have a place and I'm grounded, we're doing this. So be sure to hit the subscribe button on this channel, because there'll be more videos here, more stuff on my Instagram, so go follow over there, definitely, and join the Insider Club down in the description below. And I think that's all I've got for today. I've talked for probably about 30 minutes, and I hope this video, I pray to God this video isn't 30 minutes. I feel like I've talked for at least 30 minutes. Hopefully I can trim some of this out, but either way, I'm gonna stop talking now because it's a long video. Y'all will see me next week, and I believe I want to make a vision board for 2021, since it will be my first video of 2021. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and yeah, I'm gonna see y'all next week. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all the things. If you got ideas, let me know. I will see y'all next week. Goodbye.